We have gathered the major powers of the quadrants that are allied to us together to face off against the approaching threat of the Other and the Terran Emperor as they approach. Crusher and the mirror universe Voyager have almost completely merged, although it is a battle of wills, it seems. But nonetheless, every attempt to slow the progress towards Earth has failed, and now it is entering the Sol system. The 2 AU diameter of its energy cloud dwarfs the system, and it can be seen far in advance of its arrival. Fortunately, aside from Parvo, the point of its arrival into our universe, it has targeted no other systems, making a slow but inexorable advance on the capital planet of the Federation. Evacuations have already begun, but we're talking about an entire planetary system, one of the more populated in the Federation, and all its stations and outposts. It's not a quick process, and unless we can halt the advance of the Other, people will die. Fresh off our mission to rescue the Terran Beverly Crusher, Admiral Quinn wastes no more time in assembling a briefing for all.
I'm afraid I have bad news. Under the command of Emperor Cusher, the Other is approaching the Sol system, digitizing any vessels that dare to offer them challenge. We're calling in all available ships to form a defense here, including yours. If this is to be our last stand, I want our best and brightest on the line to meet the enemy in battle.
I mean, sure, you want me to go get the best and brightest? Haha, humour in the face of morbid reality. Glancing outside the magnificent space dock windows, we can see the Enterprise NCC-1701F, the IKS Bortescu, the Romulan Republic warbird Lucette, the Khitomer Alliance Division's USS Khitomer, and a flagship from the Dominion. Each of these, no doubt, has been parked in full view of the assembled, with the purpose of inspiring hope and unity, seeing all these flagships of these allied worlds in one scene. I know what they're doing, but it's working. The central display, usually reserved for space dock status, now shows a holographic map of the Sol system, notably not to scale, but the Other depicted here in purple is only slightly larger than it should be if the orbiting distance are correct. Still, it shows the gravity of the situation and highlights it will be passing through both Jupiter and Mars before it reaches Earth. Looking around, we've got many familiar faces, including Dr. Julian Bashir and an assembled medical division, a grim reminder of the battle ahead. After all, a Terran fleet has been seen accompanying the Other, so we can expect casualties. Nearby to him are friends of theirs and influential people in their own right. Grand Nagus Rom and his wife, our universe's leader. And while the Ferengi don't have much in the way of military might to offer, what ships they do have are nothing to be sniffed at, and at least his presence here shows Ferenginar is committed to aid. Naturally, Captain Nog of the Chimera is also present to defend the Federation. Next to them is the KDF Empire's representatives, including General Martok and several hand-picked captains from the KDF, including Norsicans, Orions, and a pacing Pharasian. But that is not all. There are several Gorn captains present too, and the Chancellor, L'Rell, the reincarnated or cloned leader from 2258, stands aside Ja'ula of House Mokai. Looks like she has finally fully accepted that her war with the Federation is long over, and the hair look suits her. Next to them is Ambassador Worf. Naturally, where else would he be today? And next to him is his brother Kern, a formidable warrior of the Empire, who has finally had his memories restored. To the side, we have the Witch of Nimbus 3 herself, Adet Pa, spy and information broker, standing aside Kamen, a high-ranking member of the KDF intelligence agency. Separate division from House Mokai, but I guess they work together. Interestingly, we also have several Orion captains outside of the KDF representing a possible interest from the Syndicate too. Strange bedfellows indeed. On the opposite balcony, we have another gathering of attendees. Commander Mina is of Romulan intelligence and standing just beside Obisek, who is the leader of the Riemann forces since their revolution against the fractured Star Empire. Proconsul Datan is also in attendance, head of the Romulan Republic, alongside Admiral Kerorek, one of the more influential admirals of the Romulan Navy since the Republic's formation 2 years prior. Subcommander Rai Sahen, in red, oversees some of the Delta Quadrant efforts of the Republic. We also have 7 of 9. Whether she's actually in Starfleet at this time is still unconfirmed, but here she does appear to be representing the Fenris Rangers in some capacity, considering the lack of uniform, and positioning with the Romulan delegations. Among these individuals are more captains of the Romulan Republic and intermingled guests from the other powers. Descending the stairs, we've got more notable people. Well, a sentient hologram specialist of poor stamens created by us in dire need of someone who understood the mycelial realm, and an Excalibian recreation of Michael Burnham, who was assigned to work alongside us to continue the morality trials that species seems enamoured with. Standing at the centre of the crowds, Vice Admiral Janeway and Rear Admiral Tuvok. The former was heavily involved in this Terran issue, and the latter a frequent face in tackling issues to Starfleet security from outside threats. Next to them, no doubt catching up, are Captains Tom Paris of the USS Mercury and Delta Flight Task Force, and Captain Harry Kim, who is still assigned to the Delta Quadrant's Kabali efforts and anti-Vardois front line. To the right of them are Commander Burgess of Starfleet Intelligence, usually found here at the ESD, Lieutenant Commander Kyle DeSoto, the lead operative in uncovering this whole affair. Frankly, he just looks happy to be here. And Admiral Tenay, the specialist in Romulan Star Empire counterintelligence. In front of them we have some mixed crew from the 2 captains at the very fore. Captain Commodore? Geordie LaForge of the USS Challenger, and Captain Vakel Shon of the USS Enterprise. Accompanying our flagship's crew is the Republic's Commander Jirok of the Lasette, who we've worked alongside multiple times with in the past, flanked by 2 sub-commanders. On the opposite side we have Captain Corrin of House Grilka, Worf's adopted daughter, and behind her is Vishka, an Orion of Klingon intelligence. Next to them we have the Kisma Alliance's Unified Task Force head team. Captain Kargren, the former Starfleet Intelligence Officer Commander Kyla Van Zyl, and Commander Rena Kev, sister to the Romulan player characters XO. Next to them, and representing the continued unified operations of the Lukari, is the celebrated Captain Kumalki. Next to them, here is Captain Kurland of Deep Space Nine, who must have arrived alongside the Dominion delegation, which includes the Vorta ambassadors of Loris, aide to Odo, and Delva, both of whom we have worked with before. Among them are numerous other notable Jem'Hadar Firsts or captains, and other officers from the KDF and Starfleet who work alongside them. Overall, it's quite the assembly. All have arrived here to show support for the United Federation in the face of this threat, aid in the evacuation, and provide a bolstering line to Starfleet's defensive plans. However, this is the last attempt to stop the other, an Emperor Crusher, but the Earth has weathered similar attacks in the past, so although somber, the mood is far from defeatist.
Good morning. I realize the risk you've all taken in being here to stand at our side in this dark hour. On behalf of Starfleet and the Federation, thank you. The interstellar entity known as the Other is approaching this system as we speak. Conventional methods of engagement have proven futile against the entity, but we have been able to limit the raiding conducted by the Terran fleets accompanying them. Under the guidance of the Terran Emperor, the Other will erase Earth from existence in a matter of hours. Once that happens, they will continue their reign of terror, eliminating the core worlds of every Alliance faction, and anyone else brave enough to stand against them. The time to act, to make a stand, is now. I realize the odds are against us here. We're facing an enemy with a power level unheard of. But there is still hope. We have a plan.
A plan, Admiral? How do you intend to defeat a being of godlike power?
We have established contact with someone who knows the Emperor well. We believe they hold the key to victory in this conflict. We're ready. Energize.
Admiral Quinn is correct. I know the Emperor very well. After all, I am his mother. There have been concerns about my son in the Empire for some time. It was decided that a contingency plan was required, in case he ever lost control. That time has come. For years, I've been working on a means to disrupt his great powers. We need to strike before he is fully merged with that thing. Before he loses the last elements of his humanity. Before he is no longer my son.
So, Dr. Beverly Crusher's data that she needed from the Birdcage mission was this: a means to disrupt Wesley Crusher's traveller powers over time and space, allowing us to get a shot at him. It's understandable how a man like that could become the Terran Emperor. Even our universe's Wesley, in his worst moments, displayed intense arrogance and a superiority complex. Fortunately, he was tempered by compassion. But in a universe where that was not an option, well, seemingly even his own mother has been looking for a way to subdue his evolution, but out of fear of the man he would become, or love for the boy he could have been. With the primary briefing out of the way, we're free to talk with Dr. Crusher.
You look like a person with something on their mind. What can I do for you?
I've got lots of questions, but let's just begin with what exactly is your role in this operation?
Operation? Interesting choice of words. As a surgeon, I'd say that what we're about to do is very much like an operation on a very specific patient. Only in this case, if we're successful, we'll be saving our lives.
Clever, which leads me to my main point. We're going to neutralize the Emperor, your own son. Conflict of interests?
That's right. I've developed a countermeasure to his abilities. It utilizes a variable phase shift delivery system. One that should evade any detection tech or personal defenses he might have in place.
Right. And then?
I'll deploy a cluster of nanotech into his nervous system. It's based on tech provided by our Marshal Janeway. I understand she acquired it from a rather advanced group of cyborgs in the Delta Quadrant. Based on my research, it'll disrupt the parts of Wesley's brain that allow him to use his powers. He'll be human again, and vulnerable to attack.
But you're his mother.
The countermeasure must be deployed at short range. We'll need to get to him at the core of the other to pull this off. Unfortunately, they have fortified their defense systems. Until we can safely breach those defenses and reach the core, this conversation is moot.
Yeah, don't worry, we're working on that angle.
You'd better work fast. My son might be taking his time getting here, but he won't take forever. If you don't have something by the time he arrives, well, I'm told the digitization process is quick and painless. A rather humane method of execution, all things considered.
It won't come to that, Doctor. So I'm not entirely convinced. Aside from a brief glance to one side, she showed no remorse or sympathy towards her son and the prospect of potentially harming or killing him. Now she is Terran, surrounded by strangers. She's hardly going to show what she perceives as weakness right away, but I'd feel more comfortable if we had addressed this. Maybe later. In the meantime, we can discuss the situation with the other captains, our allies, to see what they think. We'll start with Captain Corrin of the IKS Bortescu.
The Federation stood with the Empire over Kronos when the Undine sent their planet killer to destroy the homeworld. We fought at their side against the Iconians, and we will fight at their side against the other and the Terrans. It will be a glorious battle. Today is a good day to die.
Well, Corrin, glory to you and to your house. Kupla. Next up, we check in with Commander Jarok of the Republic flagship. Commander? Thup.
The Federation has stood with the Romulan people many times. When the homeworld was lost, they were there to help. When we found a new home, they were there as well. New Romulus has not forgotten. Today, we stand ready to honor our alliance and defend the Earth from this new menace.
Well, may the elements guide you, Commander, once again into the fray. Next up is one of our most stalwart allies to date, Captain Sean. The Enterprise stands ready?
I've been in a lot of battles in my time. Far more than I'd like, if I'm honest. I prefer the role of explorer over that of a warrior. But when it comes down to the survival of the Federation, I'll take up that mantle without hesitation. The crew of the Enterprise will fight to their final breath to save as many lives as possible today. Count on it.
Well, Good to hear, but there is plenty of breath left in all of us. Loris, how stands the Dominion?
In our time of utmost need, the Federation came to the Dominion's aid against the Herc. The Founders will never forget this brave act. Today, in the spirit of that act, we stand ready to defend the Federation's capital world. Today, the credo of the Jem'Hadar is especially profound. For today, victory is life for us all.
You know, true. I used to find that saying kind of morbid, but it's also kind of true. With everyone spoken to and the briefing coming to a close, many of the leaders will remain aboard the ESD to see to the evacuation and coordinate the defence of the system while we return to our ships. Despite the threat ahead, I remain optimistic. We've battled greater nemesis before and always emerged victorious, and this time we're starting as a unified force.
Well then, we've heard all the speeches, now it's time to get to work. Are you ready to begin the operation?
Hail to Armiger. One to beam up. Returning to orbit, the unity present inside the hall is even more apparent from the ships on display. The majority, as expected, are Federation vessels. Alongside our USS Armiger is the USS Enterprise F and the USS Khonshu, the intelligence vessel of Kyle DeSoto. We also have the USS Challenger from the Corps of Engineers, the USS Voyager, currently Admiral Tuvok's vessel, though I do wonder if Janeway is aboard. There's also the USS Defiant. I suspect the vessel Captain Kurland arrived on from DS9. And now Kurland's here. The USS Chimera, Captain Nogg's vessel and a powerful ship. The USS Picot is a carrier and transport vessel ideal for evacuations alongside scrambled medical vessels which can carry large quantities of patients. Not perfect for evacuation, but made to hold a large number of people. We've got a long list of these. The Olympic beta-type ships, the Fleming, Banting, Lavoisier, Hook, Ampere, Lovelace, McClintock, and Meitner, all named after scientists in various fields. We also have numerous Reliant, Centaur and Sentinel-class vessels here, and many non-Federation ships too. We have the Ferengi Marauder, Quark's Fortune with its oh-so-subtle gold paint job, the Resh Kava, Captain Kumaki's Hulkun advanced ship powered by Genesis energy, and there is the Dominion command ship. Naturally, the Khitomer is also present, the first ship built collectively by the Klingon Empire, Starfleet and the Romulans. The IKS Lucara is here too, Ja'ula's vessel, heavily modified and updated. Next to her ship is the IKS Core, Captain Kern's vessel, and a hulking Nurk'Vah warship. And of course, the Rotaran of House Martok makes its return. Leading all these ships is the flagship of the Klingon Empire, the Bortescu, under Captain Corrin, and the Romulan counterpart, the Lucette, sits nearby. There are also several Orion vessels here as well as Nausicaan ones. Both are part of the KDF, but it's unusual to see them on their own ships. With this sizable fleet assembled and ready, we are contacted fleet-wide by a hail from Admiral Quinn from Space Dock.
Long-range sensors have picked up the other at the edge of the system. They're on a direct course to Jupiter. Jupiter Station has a unique holographic defense system in place, but it'll only last so long against the other and their Terran escorts. I'd like you to deliver a system upgrade module to the station to aid with their defense.
Very well, looks like we're going to be bolstering our line while under siege. Not optimal, but we'll get it done.
The Lucette will be leading a task force at Mars. Evacuation has already begun, but they'll need all the time you can buy them at Jupiter. Enterprise will be here, on standby, in case of emergency. Once the evacuations are complete at Jupiter and Mars, you're to fall back to Earth and join the remaining defense fleets.
Understood. We'll deploy the upgrade, then return to combat.
All hands go to red alert. Repeat, all hands, red alert.
Corrin to fleet. Prepare for battle. Kapla! This is Jirok. It's time. Best speed to Mars.
Good luck out there. The other isn't alone. They're bringing a large Terran invasion force along for the ride. I expect they'll do their best to loot and pillage in the wake of the other's destruction. Do what you can to stop that. But remember, saving lives comes first. Get as many people out of Jupiter as you can.
Understood. Evacuation priority.
I don't doubt it. Better get moving. Captain Corrin can be a little rough when people are late to a battle.
Alright then, we make the inter-system warp jump to Jupiter Station to find Corrin positioning the fleet already.
You have arrived. Good. The enemy is approaching at high speed, and we have little time to prepare for battle. Deliver the defense upgrade to Jupiter Station at once. After that, evacuation efforts will commence. Defend the station and the evac ships when that happens.
Apart from the annoying powering up sounds we keep hearing from other ships, we've got our priority order. Deploy the Jupiter Station holographic defense upgrade to them, and then cover the evacuating ships. It's been a while since we fought alongside the Bortascu and Corrin. It's a powerful vessel that easily rivals the Odyssey class, as it came about during the same era in response to the Odyssey project. We transfer the updated software, and just in time.
12 power energy field detected. They're here!
Terran ships warping in near Projector Station Alpha.
The overloading noise from the other signals the launch of plasma discharges that can completely convert and digitize any struck matter. Alongside the looming cloud which now fills the view, a Terran fleet descends on the station like scavengers around an apex predator. The holographic turrets are likely in response to the others' attacks. Even if a charge strikes their defences, they can just be reprojected. As our duty is to cover the evacuations, we target the others' attacks before they can impact. If any touch the station, things could go bad. We turn just in time to see an orb descending on a nearby vessel and do all we can to protect it. Thankfully, we save them. The Terran fleet itself is something we can easily handle, with the upgraded holographic defences overseen by Admiral Janeway, and our greater numbers, enemy ships are not the issue.
Now evacuating Jupiter Station. Hold off those Terrans!
The problem is, of course, the other in the sheer power it brings. Earth was completely at the mercy of Voyager in 2272, and now, 139 years later, nothing has changed. The other looms in ever closer, not slowing nor diverting its course. But this is the line, the home system. There is nowhere else to go. Fallback. There's nothing left to defend.